The Indianapolis Colts just made the kind of move that tells you everything about where this franchise is headed. And if you are sleeping on this team right now, you are about to wake up shocked. Jonathan Taylor is running through defenses like they forgot how to tackle. Alec turned himself into a pure deep ball weapon that stretches the field every single snap. Michael Pittman Jr. is still one of the most reliable targets in the entire AFC, and then you add Tyler Warren into this mix. A tight end who can line up anywhere and create mismatches that coordinators lose sleep over. Shane Steichen is calling plays like a man who finally has every piece he asked for, and the offensive line is holding up from both tackle spots with guards who are mauling people in the run game. This is not a team that is building for someday. This is a team that looks like it is ready to hurt somebody this season. But here is the part that makes all of this hit different. The quarterback situation in Indianapolis just completely flipped, and it happened faster than anyone predicted. Daniel Jones walked into that building and brought something this offense has been starving for: calm. No hero ball, no weekly panic, just a quarterback who gets the team lined up, hits throws on time, and lets Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line do what they do best. Riley Leonard even stepped in for small stretches and looked composed, like the system itself just works when the decision-making is steady. Meanwhile, the guy they once called the future of this franchise, the young quarterback with the rare arm and the rare speed, Anthony Richardson, has now agreed with the team to seek a trade. That is not a rumor. That is real. The Colts are moving forward, and they are doing it without the player they bet everything on just a couple of years ago. So how did we get here? How does a team go from calling a player the answer on draft night to quietly planning life without him before he ever got a full, healthy season under his belt? That story goes deeper than most people realize, and it starts with a night in the draft room where Indianapolis believed one pick could erase years of pain. What they did not see coming is how fast everything would unravel from there. But before we jump into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Colts and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 100 likes on this video. The pain started the day Andrew Luck walked away from football, and every season after that felt like the Indianapolis Colts were searching for something they could not find. Aging veterans came and went. Short-term fixes bought time but never bought belief. Then Anthony Richardson showed up in that draft class, a massive athlete with a cannon arm and speed that made scouts forget he was a quarterback. The comparisons to Cam Newton and Josh Allen were everywhere, on every national show, in every mock draft, and nobody wanted to slow down long enough to ask the hard questions. The difference was hiding right there on the college tape. Cam Newton had a national title and a Heisman behind him. Josh Allen had more years on the field and more live reps building his game. Anthony Richardson left Florida with one full season and a stat line of 16 passing touchdowns to 9 interceptions that should have made people pause. But the physical tools were so loud that the warning signs got buried under highlight reels and potential. Indianapolis believed Shane Steichen could fix everything. The same coach who helped Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts explode into franchise quarterbacks. The roster was ready, the coaching was elite, and draft night felt like destiny. But destiny does not guarantee what happens when those lights actually turn on. For a brief moment, it looked real. Anthony Richardson ripped throws outside the numbers, pulled the ball on zone reads, and made defenders look frozen in open grass. Then the hits came. A concussion, a brutal shoulder injury against Jacksonville, and suddenly year one was over after just 5 games with a long rehab ahead instead of growth. The scariest part was not the injuries themselves. It was the fact that he never got to stack weeks, learn from bad reps, and build the quiet confidence every young quarterback needs to survive in this league. Year 2 gave him more snaps but not more answers. 11 games, over 500 rushing yards, multiple rushing scores, but the passing numbers told a painful truth. 8 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions, with a completion rate sitting around 47%, is not a rough patch. That is an offense holding its breath every single drive. The legs kept him dangerous. The arm kept the hope alive. But the rhythm never settled. Then came the freak accident nobody could have predicted. A resistance band snapped into his face during warm-ups, caused an orbital fracture, and wiped out nearly an entire third season. 3 years in, and the NFL still did not have a full season of tape on him. there is one play that people inside that building still talk about. In the middle of a tight game with a drive still alive, Anthony Richardson tapped himself out because he was gassed and needed a break. Physically, that can happen to anybody. But when you are the quarterback, the guy every single teammate looks at in the huddle, timing matters more than anything. Offensive linemen who grind through every snap noticed it. Wide receivers who run full speed routes even when the ball is not coming their way noticed it. That one moment did not end his time in Indianapolis, but it changed how some of those veterans looked at him when things got hard. From there, the conversation shifted to the daily habits that separate talented arms from franchise leaders. Every locker room has stories about guys like Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, first in the building, last to leave, living inside the film room. Reports around Anthony Richardson suggested he was still learning what that standard actually demands. Nobody questioned his love for football, but the microscope at quarterback is different from every other position on the field. When the vets started comparing notes, the question became simple. If you have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, a strong line, and Shane Steichen calling plays, and the results are still this inconsistent, where does the real problem live? Nobody sold Daniel Jones as a superstar when he arrived in Indianapolis. That was the whole point. The Colts did not need someone to carry the franchise on his back. They needed someone who could simply run the offense without turning it into chaos every week. From the moment he got under center, the difference was impossible to miss. Play action started flowing naturally off Jonathan Taylor and the run game. Crossers opened up on rhythm. The ball found Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, and Josh Downs without anyone holding their breath waiting for a disaster. Was it perfect every single drive? No. There were ugly sack numbers at times and stretches where protection leaked around his Achilles. But something changed in that building that nobody could ignore. The offense finally looked like a real system instead of a weekly science experiment. People inside the facility saw a quarterback who could get them in and out of the right looks and actually live inside the structure Shane Steichen designed. Then Riley Leonard came in for short stretches and looked composed in his own way, which only reinforced what the coaching staff already believed. The system works when the decision-making is steady. And once the front office started calling Daniel Jones both the present and the future, there was no going back for anyone in that quarterback room. At some point, the numbers made the decision for everybody. Anthony Richardson has been available for only around 29 of 51 games since entering the league, and in a sport built on weekly rhythm that is not a small footnote, that is a deal breaker. The Colts are now sitting in the part of his contract where decisions cost real money, with a current cap hit near $10.8 million and a fifth-year option that jumps into the $23 million range. You cannot commit that kind of money to a quarterback you are not sure will be on the field in October. From Anthony Richardson's side, the math is just as obvious, but for completely different reasons. He is still in his early 20s, still loaded with rare physical gifts, and sitting behind a quarterback the coaching staff just publicly committed to does nothing for his growth or his value around the league. Staying in Indianapolis only adds more questions every single week, whether he plays or not. The timing sealed it. With the Combine bringing every general manager, every head coach, and Anthony Richardson's representative Derek Jackson into the same city, quiet conversations could happen face-to-face without dragging this into the summer. The Colts cleared the uncertainty before free agency opens, and Richardson gets the chance to find a team that actually wants to build around him. If this is going to become a comeback story instead of an ending, the next logo on his helmet matters more than people realize. Anthony Richardson cannot just chase any open roster spot and hope for the best. He needs a place that knows how to develop quarterbacks who are not finished products. Think about learning behind Matthew Stafford with the Rams, sitting in a room every day absorbing how a veteran like Aaron Rodgers prepares. If a team like the Steelers or another franchise lines that up, or walking into Green Bay where Jordan Love just fought through his own growing pains and came out the other side as a legitimate starter. Then there are the spots where the path to playing time opens faster, but the pressure gets heavier. Arizona could look at moving on from Kyler Murray and bring in a different style on a cheaper deal. Miami might start thinking long-term behind Tua Tagovailoa and pair all that offensive speed with his legs and arm. San Francisco is always a fascinating thought because Kyle Shanahan has built a system around Brock Purdy using movement, play fakes, and misdirection that could hide rough edges while rebuilding his mechanics. Even Cleveland with a deep draft chest could see him as a pure upside swing. No matter which front office picks up the phone, one thing stays the same. Only Anthony Richardson himself can turn rare traits into consistent Sundays, and the clock on proving that is already ticking. Indianapolis is not looking back. The blueprint is already drawn, and every piece on this roster points in one direction. Daniel Jones running the offense with precision, Jonathan Taylor punishing defenses on the ground, Alec Pierce stretching the field vertically, Michael Pittman Jr. winning contested catches underneath, and Tyler Warren creating mismatches that no linebacker or safety wants to deal with. Add the possibility of bringing in a weapon like Elijah Sarrett, a potential in-state target who could add another layer to this passing attack, and the picture gets even more exciting. The AFC South is not waiting around for anybody. Every team in that division reloaded this offseason, and the Colts know the window they have been building toward is starting to crack open right now. Shane Steichen has the tools, the quarterback he trusts, and a locker room that finally feels settled at the most important position on the field. That combination is dangerous when everything is pulling in the same direction. This is not the end of Anthony Richardson's story. His journey and the Colts' plan simply needed to move in different directions for both sides to win. If Indianapolis hits on this new chapter, they are right back in the middle of real playoff conversations. And if Richardson finds the right home, the best part of his career might still be ahead of him.